Okay, let's talk about the right to travel. If you like this video, be sure and like and subscribe. And yeah, let's talk about this. There's some people out there that I think their hearts are in the right place, and they're actually, I mean, the ideas are good ideas, but I think the brainwashing is maybe deeper even in them than what they realize. And if you're a person that believes in right to travel, that you only should have to have a government license if you drive in commerce. In other words, if part of your job is to drive, that's the only time you need a license, and anytime you're doing anything else, you don't actually have a license. If that's your thoughts and your feelings, this video is specifically for you. And it's also it's for everybody, because here's the thing. People have this idea, people start thinking, maybe, I don't know, I think the time that happened to me is I left a driver's license at home one day, and I was going to turn around and go get it, and I was like, it's just a thing, it's just a card, it's just a piece of paper kind of thing. Why do I need that to drive around? And I think that's when I kind of started going, geez, like, I learned how to drive when I was a kid, and I did driver's ed, and people's family, they might have somebody in their family that teaches them how to drive and doesn't actually give them keys to go somewhere until they feel like that person is going to be safe in the car. And that's really pretty much all we need as far as, when it comes to like are you driving, or is somebody, good to drive or something like that. But here's the thing. People say, yeah, I looked it up, and the definition of driver is someone who is employed as a driver, and that's how they get that's how they get paid or whatever. So you don't need to have a license unless that. Well, listen, the idea of the right to travel is the right to travel. Like it's a good. It's a good is what it is. And to say that you need a government book to say or not say that you have that right is just crazy. It's called the inherent right. But then people go so far as to say, yeah, unless you drive in commerce, unless you're employed as a driver, then you have to take the government's license. Well, first of all, listen to that. It's a government's license. It's their lie and their sins, saying that we have to pay them and ask if we can use our own things to go to visit family, or go on to go get some food, or go to the movies, or go visit friends, or go to work, you don't have to have permission. But where do people get the idea that you only have to have permission if you're employed as a driver? They get that idea from from law. Right? Law. Somebody wrote something down on a piece of paper and said, if you're employed as a driver, then you got to pay. Now, people that talk about right to travel are talking about being free. Right? The idea is, we're supposed to be free people. It's supposed to be a free country, and and then they're because they know that someone else writing rules for them is wrong. And enforcing those rules on people is wrong. then they go to those very books that talk about the rules that get forced on people for their saying, well, some people don't have the right. In other words, it's okay if I have the right to travel, but if you work for driving, oh, then you don't have a right to do that. Now, the person that works to drive buys more gas, pays more gas tax, and gas tax is what pays for the road. Supposedly, I think it's just a bunch of numbers that they make up. You know, government has some thing somewhere with a bunch of numbers in it, and they say, oh, here, you take some of these numbers, and you take some of these numbers, and print some of these numbers on a piece of paper and give that to this guy, and he can take it over there and get some other pieces of paper, and then we can build a road. What? To me, I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like they just make all these numbers up and just, you know, send them from one computer to another computer and say, here, you get these numbers and you get these numbers and we'll give you these numbers. And I like these folks a lot. I'm going to give them a bunch of these numbers. You know, this. Anyways, so they look at these laws, right? And they say, you know, this bodies of laws and charters and, you know, rules and regulations and all that kind of stuff. And they say, you know, the rules and regulations. Now, here's what you have to do with a book, right? You have to look down, right, instead of look up at each other, right? And now, you know, a book might be fun for a mom or dad to read to their kids at night for nighttime, you know, a story or something like that. But a book that forces its ideas onto other people with the use of force of people who looked at a book and went, oh, I think I'm going to do this to people and I'm going to make people do this. That's stupid. So they get those ideas and they get those from books, right? Code, law books. I think it was first written by, what this says is Hammurabi's Code. It was the first written code. Why was written code important? Crime and punishment, right? Because life's not a gift. This isn't about loving each other. This is about punishment. If we write down something and you don't do it, we want to punish you to show you that we own you. That's crazy. That's stupid. And it said it's very similar to today. It did treat people different of social and economic status. You know, so if you had a bunch of money, or you're you know, high in society, or you know, one of those types of things, you may have been treated a little better, which we know is, you know, kind of the way things have been. Books, law books, right? And that's why they sentence people, because what do you find in books? You find sentences, and you know, I mean, this is just it's insanity. You know, it's not insanity, it's unsanity, it's non-sanity. You're not being insane. I mean, that may be the wrong way to think about it, but something seems with this language may be wrong. Now, I might be wrong about that, but you know, I know we say in love, or in the tub, or you know, in I don't know, water is in this, or you know, and then people say insane. Well, it's insane to keep doing the same thing over and over again, like people go and vote every 4 years and think that, oh, things are going to get some, you know, oh, the government's going to save us if we just vote for them. You know, they've been saying this for thousands of years, you know, and in this country we've been saying it for hundreds of years, and people do the same thing over and over again, and it's not getting any better. The nation is, you know, just a mess. Anyways. So books, and then where do those books come from? Well, they start out, you know, like you know, Congress, House of Representatives. This is a fasci. It's a symbolism of fascism. Now they say, you know, oh, this is a bunch of sticks tied together because they're stronger. And the axe is supposed to be for punishment and that kind of thing. And so it's saying, the law, which is what Congress and the House of Representatives is they write the law. The law is stronger. Well, this is not a, I mean, do you want to see somebody coming at you with one of these? No, come on. Anyways, now where's the fasci? We also have the fasci here. This is, that's Hitler. And there's a fascist symbol in there. Well, we know what fascism is anyways. We don't even need to think about Hitler as far as that's concerned, because we know what fascism is. Right? We know what fascism is. And so that's where laws come from. They come from a fascist government. That's the new Rome. I mean, look at the architecture. People say, Rome fell in a day. No, it didn't. It just moved. Look at the architecture in Washington. Look at the architecture, in all these places where they have Capitol buildings. So what are laws? They call them codes and statutes and regulations. They're turning people into stone. Now, somebody else did that too. Supposedly in history, one of the myths is Medusa, right? Now, look at this. You got Medusa in a monster truck, and you also have Medusa dressed up in all this red, white, and blue stuff. Okay, well, look. When people wrote stuff down into a set of codified rules and said, these are our laws and now they're your laws. That's why they call them lawyers, right? We wrote these laws and they're your laws, and if you don't obey what we wrote, then it's punishment, right? So when they did that, they blew it. Right? They blew it when they wrote down laws and forced people to obey, because then they made everybody a slave. And then, so now we have Medusa, right? And Medusa has turned people into stone. Now, statues, right? Statutes, turning people into statues, right? Turning people into stone. Medusa turned people into stone too, right? And so she turned people into stone. And how did she do that? How did she do that? What's in her hair? Or what is her hair made of, right? Serpents, right? Right? See, that's past tense. That's past tense. Serpent. Serpent. Pent. In the past, they wrote down a bunch of laws and they said, you gotta do this. Right? Serpent. That old devil, the deceiver. Right? Deceiver, been deceiving people. Why? Because it's all about dollars and cents. Right? Deception, deceiver. It's slavery. That's exactly what it is. And it's turning people's hearts into stone. Look at what and not like a good kind of stone. Stone as in stone cold. Like mean. Look at what police enforce the law. They force the law on people. That's why they're called the police force. Okay? And look at what I think lots of those guys went into that job to do something good. And if you look at some of them, you can see that some of them are good dads, and you can see some videos of some of them very, very good people that, go out and they help people. I seen pictures of one policeman. He was giving a homeless guy a shave and a haircut. And you see other ones that help people doing things. But then you see those bad ones that seem to be all too many of them, that go around telling people, I've got this, there's this book that our company has, and if you don't follow this book, then we got to punish you, because we have to. Your argument's not with me, it's with the law. No, it's not. The law is just a book sitting on a table somewhere, or in a drawer, or on a shelf, or something like that. You know, but then you say, then some cops will say, I am the law. Well, then, yeah, my problem is with you, because why are you here or anywhere? Why is an officer telling you what to do? Right? Because they've been turned into a heart of stone, right? Somebody serpent them. Why was Medusa, right? Mad USA, Medusa. You know, that's why she's got this red, white, and blue on, right? And that's why it's a monster truck, because we created a monster when we created the government. It was a monster. Government. Govern is to control. Ment is the mind, or of the mind. Mentis. And so that's mind control or thought control. You know, that's just, we created a monster. You know. So why do people look for, you know, all these things, and why do they look for that? Well, actually, I guess the better question is, why do people want the right to travel? Why do we want the right to travel? Because we want to be free. Now, there's only one way we're going to be free, and that's we're going to have to be free. Not part of the word free, all of the word free. Like, free is not under the forceful control of someone else, but it's also without cost or payment. We have to be, we can't be one or the other. We have to be all of it. Or we have to be both parts of free. It's like you need both parts of your brain, right? You have to have both parts of free in order to actually be free. Because if you're not, if you're bound by one or the other, then we're not going to be free. But the thing is, everybody has to do this at the same time all together, and we have to agree that we're not going to ask people for money, we're not going to talk about money, we're not going to force people to do things that they don't feel like they should do, or that they don't feel like they want to do. We shouldn't force people to, or tell people that they have to get a license, or allude to them that they have to get a license, because we shouldn't have to take a government's lie and sins that they own and control people, because it's wrong. That is slavery. It's just, there is no other way to say what that is except that it's slavery. I mean, well, there might be other ways you can say it, but that's what it is. You can't deny that it's not slavery. Because people want to live in heaven. That's why we want the right to travel. Because we want to feel like life is supposed to be better than what it is. Now, a lot of people think about heaven, and they say, well, you know, if you just do what you're told, work real hard, spend more time at work and to and from work and stuff like that than you do with your family. Just work 5 days a week, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and spend, you know, a little time with your family. Not too much, a little time with your family. Because remember, it's quality time. It's not quantity, it's quality. So if it's, you know, a little time instead of a lot of time, then that's the way you should. And as long as you do that after you die, then things will be good after you're dead. Now that doesn't sound like you're living in the present. And the present sounds like a gift. And if we're not living in the present, if we listen, this thing that living is supposed to be is supposed to be a gift. And gifts are what? Free. Right? We are supposed to be free people. So, you know, government and religion wants people to wait till after they die. Just do what we say, give us some money, and do what we say, and then when you're dead, you'll have a good time. You know, instead of, you know, God says, God or infinite consciousness or the universe or whatever you want God, it said, here, I'm going to give you this great gift and opportunity. It's called living. I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to give it to you. And here's the earth, and the earth is going to give everything that you need from it, right? You can make all kinds of things with the stuff that it gets you, and it won't ask for any money from you. Okay? And then some other people take stuff from the earth, and they take it to other people, and they say, oh, it's this much money. Now, if you have to use money, are you free? Think about that for a minute. When you're talking about the right to travel, you're talking about you wanting to be free. And if you want to be free, you're going to have to actually, get together with people, and you're going to need to start talking about being free. And this needs to be something that we start talking about to everybody, right? You gotta do things that, well, I mean, people have common sense, right? Anyways, so what do you think heaven is going to look like? What is this people waiting for after they die? As long as they do what they're told and pay some money to the governments and churches, and then they can, have the governments and the churches' benefits, so that when they die, things are going to be perfect for them. Well, what do you think heaven's going to look like? Are you going to sit around in the clouds, and sing songs all day long and really have not much to do? Other than that, no. If we want to see heaven, I hope that we've all had times where we said to ourselves, "Oh man," or maybe to a friend or to your wife or a spouse or family or somebody say, "Oh, I feel like I'm in heaven right now." Or, "Man, that felt like it was in heaven. It was perfect," Heaven might look like your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Heaven might look like a bunch of people doing stuff for a bunch of people, right? This is a bunch of people. They got together and they gave these folks here. They gave them a house. Right? And everybody cheered and was happy. Why? Because they were doing something for a deserving family. Now, is your family deserving? Do you deserve? Right? Is your family? What about your neighbors? What about your mom and dad? What about your kids? What about your friends? What about your friend at work that is there to cheer you up when you're having a bad day or something like that? You kind of think that pretty much every family is deserving, right? And this feels good for all these people. Why? Because we're freeing somebody. We're freeing somebody, giving somebody a free house. Why? Because they were born here, right? We didn't say, "Hey, you know what? I want to go be born on earth and have to pay for the gift of living." No. The reason this feels so good to people is because this is right. This is the good thing. This is good. This is a good. This is a free good. It's not a free dumb. This is a free good. The government loves that word freedom because it's dumb. I mean, what does the government do that's free? Do they free people? No, they don't. They say they free people and they hand them a bunch of rule books and say you have to do this. And then well, they don't actually hand them the rule books. They hide them somewhere, and they say, "Hey, you got to know all these rules, and why you have to know these rules? Because we say so." Why? Because, well, they don't say it, but what they think is, well, we own you. I mean, we're the elite. That's wrong. The people building this, man, they take pictures of each other and they're smiling and stuff and they're having a great time. Why? They may do the same kind of work on an everyday basis and don't take pictures all the time while they're at work. Why do they take pictures when they do these kinds of things? Because these are the best experiences. Because they're freeing somebody, right? Free. When we free each other, it's good. It feels good for the person that's being freed, and it feels good for the person that's freeing themselves by saying, "I'm going to give love to you instead of make you pay for it." Because that's when it feels the best. Here's another one, right? Here's some doctors called Operation Smile. And these guys have a bunch of money, so they have the time and the ability to be able to go to places and do stuff for people free from time to time. And they take pictures and stuff, and you'll see that maybe they're doing the kind of work that they love to do, and they're most happiest doing it at this time. And they take pictures and they say, "Oh, it's the best experience of my professional career." Why was it the best experience of your professional career? Because they were doing it for free, and they were freeing somebody else, and it feels good that way. When you do something that you love, people say, what do they say all the time? I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love it. Right? And the quality of work that people produce when they get to do something that they love to do is always, it's multiplied much better than what it is if you have to do a type of work that you don't like to do. If you don't like a specific type of work, then you're not going to do it as good as a job that is something that you enjoy doing, and that feels like it's supposed to be something that you're supposed to do. There's you've seen pictures like of janitors and stuff, right? And some janitors are supposed to be janitors, and their job isn't less important than a doctor. They're there at the right place at the right time with the people that they're supposed to be there making a difference in their life for. And so some of these janitors, the school kids get together and they thank them, throw them big parties and do all kinds of nice things for them, because that janitor was where that janitor was supposed to be, and he was making the kind of difference because he loved his job. It wasn't just about, making a clean school, but maybe it is. Maybe that's what they like going, maybe the kids won't get sick as often, or maybe they'll be able to it'll be easier for them to find that thing that they like to study and learn about, so that they'll do better. And so they feel good about that. And we should feel very good about that. We shouldn't say a janitor or anybody deserves anything less than anyone else, because, listen, we're all here doing the best we can for ourselves and for each other. That's the way that it's supposed to be. It feels really good when we get to make other people's lives better, right? If we get to add to the enjoyment and happiness of people's lives, it is much, much better. Some people like to farm, right? They like to watch things grow. They like to nurture plants and know that when somebody sits around the table with their family in the evening, that the good meal that they're having is part to do with the work that they did. There are different things for different people that they love to do. And people will say to me sometimes, well, if we don't have money and you don't have to pay for anything and everything is free for everybody, then people wouldn't want to work. And that's not true. That's not true. If you let people do what they want to do, you don't have to talk them into it. It's just that people have gotten in this mindset because people so many times go to work at jobs that they don't want to actually go to, but they have to because they have to have money, because the government issues money and says that this is how we have to live. And what that did is it ruined work for a lot of people, because now it's not something that they enjoy, it's just something that they have to go do. We need to change that. We need to make it so that it's easy for people to get to do what they enjoy, what they love to do, whether it's build a house or be a doctor or work on I don't know, maybe be an architect, or build musical instruments, or sing, or play music for people, or be an artist, or any of these different things. I mean, there's how many different types of work are there out there? I mean, yeah, okay, look at places like some of these old megalithic cities and stuff, where people. The work building the buildings there were so intricate that we don't know how to do it today. And the art was amazingly beautiful, and we'd look at it and we go, man, it must have taken hours and hours for somebody to do that. We don't know how they did that. Well, I can tell you how they did that, because it wasn't people going to work to 40, 50, 60 hours a week because they had to be able to pay the bills and cover the cost of the mortgage and do all that. It was because they had those things without worry, and they got to do the types of work that they love to do, and so they they did it in their best way and they enjoyed it. Now some work, if you love to do it, you're able to do it faster. Some work, when you love to do it, it may be something that takes a long time. Maybe it's painting a perfect masterpiece or something like that. But whatever it is, the quality is, who knows how many times it's better. Just letting people do what it is that they enjoy to do. And that's what those, when we look at these old ancient buildings and we go, how those primitive people do that, just because they weren't primitive. Not in the way that we think of the word primitive. They weren't, they were evolved and very intelligent because they were living a life filled with joy and happiness and love, right? And so you can see that in some work that some people have the opportunity to do, but sometimes people don't get the opportunity. Maybe they didn't get to go to the right school, or they didn't have the money for school, or their parents didn't have the money for school, or these types of things. Maybe they come from an economically deprived community. But what if we have all these parks? What if we let people? What if we turned all these parks at nighttime, or in the evenings, or during the afternoon? We had music there. What if we did something like that? Right? And let all those people that wish, that go to jobs that they don't like, that wish they were musicians, and let them be musicians, right? And make our lives that much better, so that when we get done, even sometimes you might go to work and love it, but maybe you liked it so much you worked a lot that day, and that day you're just like, "Ooh, man, what a day! Wow, it's great work, but oof, wow, what a day!" And then you go, "Oh, you know what? We should take the family and go down to the park because they're having music this evening." Right? And so you had a great day doing some really good, fun work. Maybe it was a little hard work, but it was fun. But it wasn't hard on your spirit or your soul. And then at the end of the day, you have something that just energizes you a little more, right? Make you a little happier. Bring the family together and do something fun. Not something that you have to do every single night, but maybe it's something that you wanted to do every single night, or every few nights, or something, because it's fun to get together with people and family and friends and neighbors and stuff like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and use some of this stuff that somebody wrote down, because we're talking about the right to travel and being free. That's really what the right to travel is about, being free. Somebody said here is in constitutional law, Constitution, Congress, where the people conned, could be. I don't know. The most sacred of liberties, personal liberty, or the right to the enjoyment of life and liberty, is one of a fundamental or natural rights, which has been protected by the inclusion as a guarantee in which various Constitution, which is not derived from, nor dependent on the U.S. Constitution. In other words, these rights are not given to you by the Constitution. They're supposed to be protected. But what we have to do is realize that government is what it is, and we need to think about freeing each other. Rights are something that you can't be submitted to a vote. They're not dependent on the outcome of an election. A right is something that you have inherently. It's natural to you, God-given, infinite consciousness given, universe given, whatever you want to call it. It's yours naturally there. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to always be there. It's not something that somebody should be able to regulate or decide what they want to do other than yourself. And that just comes with a good moral decision of saying, you know what, I like to be treated in a good way, and I want to treat other people in a good way. And if you have somebody who's gotten to where they don't want to be treated in a good way because they hate themselves, well, then you say to them, well, until you feel better, at least treat other people good. And once you do that, then what you find is that people start to feel better. So, And it says personal liberty. This comes from American jurisprudence, also constitutional law. Section 329. Not that that really matters. Section. That's again. Sect. Insect. Right? Sex. Good words. Personal liberty largely consists of the right of locomotion, to go where and when one pleases. The right of the citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon, either by a horse-drawn carriage, wagon, or automobile, is not a mere privilege, which may be permitted or prohibited at will, but a common right which he has under his right to life, liberty, and happiness. You know, people talk about liberty all the time, but how many times did they actually tell you what the definition of liberty is in school? Did they tell you what the two definitions of free are in school? Or did they keep telling you the word freedom? I'm here, I'm loving you. And yeah, we do have the right to travel, but it's not limited to, you know, if we have to, until we get to where we actually free each other, and to where we're actually free. A person that has to drive for work, they don't lose their right to their natural inherent right to get in a car or motorhome or RV, an airplane or anything like that. They don't lose their right and have to have a license, right? That should be good. Okay, I love you. The right to travel applies to everybody, not just some people, right? Don't be government. Don't tell some people that, oh, well, you drive for work, so you have to get the government's license. Don't be government. Okay? Be family and friend. Okay? And remember, family and friends are not a bad thing. You know, the government gives people A, B, C, D, E, and F, A, B, C, D, and F in school, right? And they say if you flunk, right, you get F. That's failure, right? You get that starts with an F, right? Flunk, failure. That's why I call it an F, right? And you think the government didn't have some idea that family and friends start with F too? You know, or anyways, we've got to do better, and to do better, we have to live love, right? We have to live in love. So we don't need, we don't need to live in political states. We can live in areas of the country, but we don't need to live in a political state or governmental state. We can live in a state of happiness and love and kindness and goodness. Okay? So, love you. Have a great day. Be sure and like and subscribe. And I got another video that I'm getting ready to make. So, all right. Love you. Bye.